Let's just do a quick recap of round one. And we see that we have a number of teams here competing. And as far as total net profits, K and K Auto had the highest total net profits, followed by Executive Auto. And remember, public companies are in business to maximize shareholders' wealth. And to do that, they have to maximize profits. So teams that generate a lot of profits generally do very well and generate a lot of points in this class. And if we look at the points per team, we can see that let's see, SB Motor broke 1,000 points in the first round. That is very good. We have two other teams that broke 1,000 points in the first round. That's fantastic. But remember, this is a year-over-year comparison, these overview points. So next year is going to be, you're going to have to do better than yourself. It's sort of like getting a 4.0 average and having to do, better the next semester, because your points are based on year-over-year comparisons. So teams that may have fallen behind a bit, and remember, 500 points, close to 500 points around is still very good, because if we're doing 5 rounds or so, it's easy to get close to 2,500 points doing that. Okay, let's see. Let's move on to stock price. Okay, so for stock price, we see that we have a real spreading out here, with the top team having $17 per share, followed by $16 per share. And you can see how this sort of follows the profit model, comes right down to the stock price. Also, buying back stock helps to increase your stock price as well, because it lowers your investors like it when you buy back stock, because it increases their ownership percentage. And you have fewer outstanding shares, so all your per share variables look better. Okay, so if we look at sales per team, we see that we have BW Auto Group and K&K have the highest sales. But remember, sales are very important, but they're not the things investors look for the most. They look for profits the most. If I was going to say there are two companies, one has $1 billion in sales and one has $200 million in sales, which would you rather have? Most people say, well, the company with $1 billion in sales. But if I tell you that the company with $1 billion in sales has $100 million in losses, and the company with $200 million in sales has $100 million in profits, now which company would you rather have? Of course, the company with the profits. So sales is important, but you have to always keep your eye on the profits. And if you look at earnings per share, we see that BW Automotive and Executive Auto have the highest earnings per shares, and they had the highest profits and the highest points. So, well, they were among the highest of points. So they did very well. So ideas for increasing your earnings per share or maximizing shareholders' wealth. A lot of what I said in the getting started video, you need to generate higher profit margins per vehicle. You need to control your costs. You need to manage your research development as far as your features and how you design the car. And you need to also invest in the future and buy new operational investments to help reduce your manufacturing costs. Okay, so let's go to, we're going to go over to charts. And, well, we were just in charts, and we're going to go to tables here, and we can see that this is, again, the points, and we can see that the companies with the top profits had the top points for the round. Now, profit margin is really key, and we had a few companies. Now, remember, everybody started at 40% profit margin. So if you go below your profit margins, like this company did, you're not going to get a lot of points. Investors don't like it when profit margins fall. So the company started with an average of 40%. Well, how did you know that, Professor? How did you know it was 40%? Well, I simply went to the last year's financial statement. I took the gross profits divided by sales, and I saw that in the first year, everybody started off with a 40% profit margin. So if you don't improve your profit margin, you're not going to do very well in the game. So the companies up here that greatly improved their profit margin did very well in the first round of the simulation. So you always want to keep improving your profit margins. If any company comes out, no matter how great they are, and they tell their investors their profit margins have gone down, the stock's going to do bad. So investors are always expecting these profit margins to go up. Okay, so stock price, we have a nice range here of stock prices, and the companies who had to generally produce the highest earnings per share had the best stock prices. And there are two ways to produce high earnings per share. One is to have a lot of profits, and two is to also buy back some stock to lower the amount of outstanding shares. Okay. Return on equity, the amount of money investors put into the company. The higher your return on equity, the better. Total points the same as current points because we're just in round one. Now, operating profit margins, really, the thing that subtracts the most from the operating profit margins is your marketing budget. So if you over market and you don't take advantage of what you really had available to sell, you know, you're advertising very heavily, but you're not manufacturing enough to take advantage of what you're selling, that could be a problem. And let's see. Revenues per share are important, but you know, you can have the highest revenues per share, but that may not mean you have the highest profits. So revenues are good, but make sure you turn them into profits. All right. If you go into the individual charts, you'll notice that it'll give you everything in your improvements from year 0 to year 1. But very importantly, at the bottom of the individual charts, it gives you this market potential to actual sales. And what you want is that you don't want the situation where you built 1,500 trucks, but you could have sold 2,200. Because this is all unsold potential. So you probably marketed very heavily and got a lot of demand, but you didn't produce enough to meet the demand. So that's a waste of marketing dollars. And that makes your operational profits go lower. Same thing for luxury over here. You have too much demand and not produce enough. So you have to work on your forecasts. This is a sample team. This is no one's actual company. This would be a better forecast. You forecasted 3,000 and your demand was 3,093. So this is sort of a perfect area. And over here, sales were 2,710 and your demand potential is 2,710. This actual cars built here were 3,000. So you had this company had some cars unsold. And when you have unsold vehicles, that can lead to an unexpected deficit. So in your pro forma financial statements, you might have saw a surplus, and now you're wondering why you had a deficit. If you have any unsold vehicles, they never turn into profits, and then those profits never turn into additional funding or cash. So you wound up having an unexpected deficit and losing 100 points. So one way to prevent that is to, tighten up your forecast, but also maybe keep $10 million or $20 million in surplus. So that way, if you do have any cars that are unsold, you'll still have enough cash, additional cash, to cover the unexpected sales drop-off. Okay, so that's sort of my 8-minute review of round one. I would say that most teams did very well in round one and are on their way of doing very well in the simulation. Keep up the good work, and we'll see how we do next week. Okay, thank you.